Hi there, this is Chris Kellett with musegroup.com, and I'm going to take you through the process of packaging up your content ready to put on Muse Exchange or to distribute it to other networks. And we're going to go through the process of packaging up and then also changing the graphics. So we can see in the Muse Grid files that we've created, we have this nice graphic file here that sits with our widgets as a preview. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, first off, I've created this very simple button widget here, and we want to distribute this and put this into a library item. So I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it Big Button. So now we have that. I'm going to select my item here, and in the library panel here, I'm going to click on the Add Selected Item. Now that will take that content and put it into the Muse library. I'm going to call it Big Button again. You could call it whatever you wish, but that's for what I'm doing at the moment. And as you can see, it's generated a preview of Big Button, so we can remove this from the page here, and now it's a library item. We can just drag that back on there. So we have this preview. But what we want to do is we want to make that preview there more creative. We want to put our own branding on it and so on. So let's take a look at how we do that. Well, first off, I've created a PNG file. I'm just going to drop it onto the page here. So I've created this PNG file in Photoshop, and this is my marketing graphic, let's say. So I want to replace that image there with this image here. So how do I do it? Well, if I click on, this is in the Mac now, in the PC it would be different, so I'm only dealing with the Mac way of doing this. So I'm going to click on to bring up my Finder, and I'm going to press the Alt key and on the go, so Alt and go. Now you'll notice that I have library there. If I just clicked on the Go section there, I'll just hover over the Go section, then I can't see the library. As soon as I press Alt, library shows up. So I'm going to move down to there and go to my library. Now in my library, I'm going to go to my preferences, and I'm going to open that up. And then in my preferences, I'm going to go to the Adobe Muse library. And then in my Adobe Muse library, I'm going to look for the folder called Big Button. And we can see here that we have this Big Button folder. There's the Muse file. And if I open this up in preview, we can see that there's a PNG file called Big Button in there. So I'm going to now rename my graphic. I'm going to call it exactly the same name. So it's called Big Button with a space there. And now as I drag, I'll double click into this folder just to make sure. So as I drag this new renamed Big Button PNG, I'm going to drop that in there. It gives me the option to replace. I'm going to replace, and that graphic is now altered. So if we go back into Muse and we click on Big Button, we now see that that graphic has changed, and I drag that on and everything still works the same. So I've been able to create that marketing graphic, put it in there easily. So let's just run through that again. I go onto my Finder, I go to Go, I click Alt, I open up my library, I go to in my library, I look for the preferences. In my preferences, I go to my Adobe Muse library, and in my Adobe Muse library, I have the folder there with the Muse file and the name, the PNG file, and I want to rename my PNG file that I created in Photoshop to exactly the same name as it is here. Copy and paste it into there, or drag it into that folder, and it will replace that graphic. Now once we have that, we can highlight that folder there. I'm now going to click on the MuseLib, export selected items as MuseLib. It will open up, where do I want to put it? I'm going to put that onto my desktop, save that as Big Button, and if we just close Muse down, we can see here that I now have this Big Button MuseLib and everything's contained in there. So I'm going to open Muse up again. I'm going to go into my library and I'm going to remove that just to prove that it works. I'm going to remove that, click yes, so that's gone now. So if I go into my preferences panel, I'm going to go Alt into my library. I'm going to go down into my, you can see that that big button has now gone from my Adobe Muse Library. That's fine. And then I have that MuseLib file there. I'm going to double click it. And when I open up Muse again, we can see that that has now been reinstalled into the library. And when I click on the graphic, the item, the marketing graphic is still there. So that's how you can package up your content and replace the generated PNG file from Muse into your own marketing graphic, and then also publish your what you've created into a MuseLib file ready for others to install. Thanks for watching.